Good evening, ladies and gents. Back with another Conquerors Blade video, and this time around we're going to be having a look back at the last year since Boom Tech took the game back from MyGames. So before we get into it, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, all that lovely fan doobie-tastic stuff, and we'll get stuck straight into this. So MyGames was the publisher for Conquerors Blade for the last 5 or so years when it actually released out in the West. Now, with MyGames, we have seen multiple seasons, we have seen multiple tournaments, and we have seen lots and lots of different content creator kind of events, such as Twitch drops and content creators versus CMs and all kinds of stuff going off. Boom Tech announced, or MyGames announced, that Boom Tech were going to be taking back over about a year ago now, and we passed back over to Boom Tech. So Boom Tech have taken everything Conquerors Blade back from kind of the publisher MyGames, and they've taken it all in-house. Now, I want to go through kind of what we have had in the last year. I want to go through kind of where we are at now as well, and what I kind of see is going to happen in the future. So starting off a year ago, we got ported over to Boom Tech, and unfortunately straight away there were a few issues with account transfers, and the transfers didn't help and didn't work and everything like this, and everyone was a little bit clueless for the first couple of days. Unfortunately, I think a majority of this actually got sorted out. Most people managed to transfer their account over from MyGames over to Boomin and all the rest of it. I know there was still a bit of drama, the Steam version of games and things like this as well, so there was a bit of kerfuffle in the first couple of weeks, but I think this all kind of got ironed out and sorted out fairly rapidly. We then went into Season Alexander, and with it came a few new units, all the rest of it. Nothing really kind of to write home about, but we went straight into that season. From what I remember, it was a fairly alright season, nothing particularly special about it, but new season, obviously new kind of future with Boom Tech. A lot of us were very, very happy. A lot of us were very, very excited for the future. We saw a lot of engagement from the community managers, from the moderators, of which I was one at that time, and from developers doing developer live streams and things like this. So we had a lot of engagement very, very quickly, and this really, really kind of excited a lot of us for what things were to come. This carried on then for a couple of months. We finished Season Alexander. We went into Season Lionfire, which again was very heavy publicized. Do remember the video, the trailer for Lionfire being really, really cool, really, really good music, really well edited. Really excited again to see kind of a new season. Didn't really promise too much in terms of new stuff, but just new season, new kind of couple of units, all the rest of it. And we were excited to just keep on getting this engagement from all the staff, developers, and everything like that. It seemed to be going very, very well. We then got the Halloween event. Halloween was a very, very good event, actually. It was a PvE kind of event, and I did a few videos on this. There was a couple of competitions going around as well in terms of creating content for that event. Really enjoyed the Halloween event last year. I think it was really, really good and really well done, and I think the general consensus was everybody kind of enjoyed the Halloween event last year, which was really, really good. We then got the very questionable kind of event or tie with Sabaton, which I still don't fully understand why they thought this was the greatest of ideas, because the amount of money it must have cost them to kind of tie themselves to Sabaton, where really I don't think it really brought much to the game. I don't think it's really helped in terms of the marketing or the advertising or anything like that. But at last we went with Sabaton. We had a Sabaton inspired map apparently for a couple of months and everything like that. Again, it was all very kind of, it seemed to just be a lot of hype for not a lot of stuff really. But again, a lot of us were keeping our happiness open. We were kind of excited to see that things were being tried, things were happening. People were taking kind of risks and decisions to try and push the game as much as we can, kind of venturing into different markets and different kind of different kind of audiences and things like this. Just I don't think it was overly well thought out personally for me, from what I saw and everything, but alas, we still did it, and it kind of went off all right. There was just nothing special to write home about. We went then into Season Sparta. Now this, personally, I think is where things really started to take a nosedive and have not recovered. Sparta season came in. A lot of people were excited for this season. A lot of people have been asking for a Spartan season for a very, very long time. Brought in a few new units, obviously the Spartan Chosen being the biggest unit, the tier 5 unit, and unfortunately to date this unit is an absolute bugbear of the vast majority of the community because it is so overpowered and unbeatable by a lot of stuff. It has really, really taken the enjoyment out of the game for a lot of people, me included. There has been countless amounts of feedback posted about the Spartan Chosen and how they need to be nerfed and everything, but unfortunately so far they have not been nerfed whatsoever, and they are still in a broken state in the game, and it is just not making sieges overly enjoyable. We then went into the Scylla season, which we are currently in now. Obviously tier 5, the Hwang archers are, I would say they are a little bit stronger than what they should be, but I wouldn't say they're broken at all, not like the Spartan Chosen. But this is the season we are currently in, and we are currently just about to finish as well. So in the next few weeks this season is going to be finishing. There have been a couple of teasers already for the next season. No one really fully knows what this is yet, but we are all thinking another Eastern Chinese season, so it'll be interesting to see what's coming from that. But I personally don't think a huge amount is going to be coming from it. Maybe a new map, maybe, or definitely a couple new units, but that will be kind of it. Although we have recently just had a massive patch in terms of mastery for a lot of different units, and actually this took me by surprise because I've been saving up my mastery scrolls. I have blasted through about 1,000 of them just to master up all the new units and all the other units that I had currently missed. So it's really brought a lot of the older units back into the game. So I'm talking the Stalwart Shields, I'm talking the Spears Sergeants, all this kind of stuff. There's quite a lot of units this has brought back into the game, which is quite nice to see. Unfortunately, they are still getting absolutely dicked upon by the Spartan Chosen, which is not great, but I went 1v1 with the Spear Sergeants just now against a unit of Queen's Knights, and my Spear Sergeants actually won, which is quite a fun thing to see, to be honest. So quite excited, quite enjoying just a bit of a fresh air in terms of new units being mastered and things like this. Hopefully that will carry on. We are apparently, I don't know how true this is, but we are apparently meant to be getting a massive patch in June, which is going to be changing up a lot of stuff. I have no details about what that is involving yet or what's kind of coming with that, but this is the rumblings at the minute from some people that definitely will have a bit of an idea from obviously being involved in certain things. But apparently this month we are expecting a massive patch of something, so I am imminently waiting for a big announcement of kind of what to expect. Now, the CBL is the latest, biggest event that's actually happened in Conquerors Blade, and unfortunately this CBL, I think, has probably been the worst by quite a long shot. The CBL has, unfortunately, it's just been full of controversy the whole way through, even before it started, with rule changes and unit bans and unit kind of just being taken out because due to kind of lag and things like this, and things just not being well thought out at all. I know there's been a few other issues throughout the CBL as well. I've been keeping an eye on the numbers on the Twitch, watching the CBLs as well, and I have to say these numbers on Twitch watching the CBLs are far lower than they ever have been. I have never saw a CBL below kind of 400-500 viewers. I don't think we've even broken that this CBL at all. So it just goes to show just how uninterested, uninspired, unenthusiastic the whole community are, which is a really worrying sign to see, because the CBL is obviously one of the biggest kind of events in Conquerors Blade, and they were banging on for ages and ages. They wanted to push more the esports side of things, which CBL would be the biggest kind of way to do it. It's really hit the fan. It just does not inspire confidence at all in the way that things are kind of going at the minute. This, coupled with a few other issues throughout the year, obviously a certain person being made a community manager against 90% of the community actually voting no, and that decision was still made. Unfortunately, this person, I am not naming names, we all know who I'm on about, unfortunately, and I'm not having a dig at this guy, it's just what I've seen, And what I've experienced, unfortunately, I do not think this guy is the best person for the community manager job, because the way I have seen him talk to people is not great. The way I've seen him handle kind of crisis in the community is not great. And to be fair, all the community managers at the minute that are currently still there, actually they all have similar problems in terms of not really being experienced, skilled or knowledgeable in what they should be doing. Moderators have dropped and thinned out substantially in the last couple of months as well, which is obviously not a good sign. We unfortunately have a certain head moderator that has become a bit of a dictator as well, and he is pushing rules upon rules upon rules, of which half of them aren't even kind of written down anywhere. It just seems to be making them up as much as he kind of wants. But he's really kind of engaging and kind of talking to people for a couple of days, and then all of a sudden he's just gone. I literally have not seen this head moderator now for the last 3 or 4 days of recording this, whereas about a week ago he was responding to literally everything. So this is unfortunately a problem we have seen time and time again from everybody, staff-wise, Conquerors Blade, that actually we will get a few days, if not a week, of really good engagement, responsiveness, supportedness, all the rest of it, and people, they'll be really keen to kind of respond to stuff, and then all of a sudden, for a good kind of 2, 3, 4 weeks, we won't see or hear from anybody at all whatsoever. And unfortunately, we seem to be hitting that kind of phase again where we're not seeing or hearing from anybody again for the next couple of weeks, which is a real big shame, but also an absolute pain in the ass trying to sort out and deal with kind of content stuff for the Conquerors Blade. But the biggest bugbear I have is the fact we have had many developer live streams in the last few months, although albeit not one recently, but they have all promised an improved amount of communication, an improved amount of kind of responsiveness and being with the community, working with the community, all this kind of stuff. Every single live stream has promised this kind of stuff. After every single live stream, communication seems to have got worse. So it's a real nightmare to see that actually there is still an audience. I checked the Steam charts and everything. The numbers are still fairly healthy for the age of the game and everything like that. Obviously, we have dropped a few in the last couple of months, but it's still pretty healthy considering what is going on in the community. But the lack of responsiveness, the lack of communication is a real big kind of bugbear. So I had a couple of you, or I asked all of you to actually send me some responses and DMs and all the rest of it. I actually made an original feedback about gathering feedback for this video. Unfortunately, Dictator hired moderator decided to actually time me out and delete that, even though it's literally what the name of the channel is. But alas, a few of you have actually DM'd me your thoughts about the last year as well. Everybody is saying the same stuff. So it is starting off with the good stuff. Obviously, we've had a fairly good kind of balance and changes and improvements to the events and everything in the last kind of couple of months and everything. Obviously, there's a few units that can still be sorted out and everything. They're still really trying to push the new player experience as well, which is really good. But unfortunately, that's kind of where the goodness stops, because everything else kind of is just lackluster and poor at the minute. The content creator program is just totally dead. It's not a thing anymore. It's gone. There is no point in being in the content creator program, because not only do we not get the battle passes anymore, we don't get any responses from any staff members whatsoever. We don't even have a staff member looking after the content creator program anymore. And unfortunately, when the content creator program was rolled out again, it had no kind of eligibility criteria, and every single person and their mother that asked for the content creator role was given a content creator role. We now have apparently about 300 content creators for Conquerors Blade. That's about 10% of the freaking player base. Like, that's just, it's not a thing at all. And unfortunately, it is not being managed. It hasn't been managed, and we're in a bit of a mess with the content creator program at the point where it's just died, which is a real bad kind of thing, because it was working so well. Unfortunately, obviously, there is a few units that still need nerfing that have just been not listened to whatsoever. Feedback is going totally kind of unnoticed. Even the moderators have actually turned around and said, we're not even sending it to the developers anymore because we don't get any responses from it. We don't get anything back from it whatsoever. We know it's not being looked at. Even though developers keep saying they're looking at it, they definitely aren't, because the amount of feedback that is still getting pushed for the same things, and they're just not even bother responding to it, let alone doing anything about it, is a real shame. The transparency, again, between kind of developers, community managers, the community is very poor, the best kind of way of kind of describing it. Unfortunately, everything at the minute is pointing to the West being kind of not a priority for Conquerors Blade or the developers Booming Tech, which I have had a few kind of conversations with a few people, and I have been told on the off, now this is not official, but on the off, the West is not a market that they want to be kind of exploring or going further into, because unfortunately the West is the lowest market they currently have in terms of player base. So they are focusing more on China, they are focusing more on APAC, which I think is Asia and Pacific and all the rest of it. They are not really focusing on Western, and unfortunately, not only have I had a few people tell me this indirectly from kind of well-known kind of sources, but we've all seen obviously the staff sackings in the last couple of months. We've seen Conqueror go, which was the content creator program manager. We have seen Gamertag go. We have seen multiple community managers go, all being the Western side of things, which is a very concerning thing to see. Whether it's all changing or not, and they are going to start focusing on the West, is anybody's guess at this point, but we have been actually given the excuse of internal changes for the last at least 4 months now, and unfortunately nothing seems to be changing in terms of what they are giving us, especially us players in the West. It just seems to be getting, unfortunately, worse and worse every single month. After every single live stream, it seems to be getting worse, and nothing just seems to be happening. Unfortunately, it does feel right now that they are just pushing as much as they can, all the events, skin events, all this kind of stuff, to pull out as much money and milk out as much money out of the player base that is still kind of existing in the West as much as they can before they just outright drop it, and then probably just focus their efforts on the eastern side of things, which is going to be a real big shame, because I know a lot of people still love Conquerors Blade, even after all the years, the issues we've had, situations we've had, and all the rest of it. There are still there is a very dedicated kind of fan base to it in the West, but unfortunately it's not looking good at this point. Would I recommend playing the game at the minute? I would say probably no, because of I don't know how long it's going to be kind of lasting for us in the West, which is a real shame. But I've tried to keep this video as kind of impartial, unbiased as possibly can. I've tried to not make it just a total moaning video. I know the video has gone on for quite some time of me just kind of rambling here, but I think I've just tried to cover everything that has happened in the past year, because there have been so many things happening, and I, for one, I know I've missed quite a few kind of things here, but actually all of us, we're of the same kind of mindset here, and it's a real big shame if things don't improve. If things don't improve, I think the next season generally will be the last season for the West. I don't see how many people will still be playing after next season if it carries on going the way it is gone. I'm going to leave the video there though. Apologies for the amount of time this video has gone on. That's a real long video. I'm just looking at the time kind of stamped now of my microphone. Apologies for the length of this, but hopefully I've covered kind of everything I possibly can. I'm sure there is some stuff that I've missed out. If there is anything that you want to add, if there are any comments you want to make, if there are anything you want to say, please leave a comment down in the comments below. I will try and respond to each and every one of you, but I will be pushing this video over to developers directly. I will be pushing it to the community managers directly as well, so hopefully they will all get a very good understanding of what we are all currently feeling, because again, this isn't just me moaning about stuff. This is stuff that you guys and girls have sent me. This is stuff that I've seen in the Discord. This is stuff that I've seen has been kind of messaged in game. So I've tried to encompass kind of everything here, the good, the bad, the not so great, all the rest of it. All right, so I've really tried to keep this as impartial as I possibly can. Gonna leave the video there though. Thank you very much for watching, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Please hit me up with a like, a subscribe, a share, all that lovely fan-dooby-tastic stuff, and I hope to catch you out on the battlefield.